Hi, my friends. It's Meredith, your evolutionary astrologer. And today I have a big, giant, gargantuan video for you. And we're going to talk about the 10 reasons why loving a Sagittarius can be challenging. I'm going to talk to you about the pain, the suffering that Sagittariuses can kind of inadvertently, unknowingly inflict upon you, and the pitfalls. And so I know this series is the dark side, it's the shadow side. Not everybody is appreciating this series. I am learning that, but most of you are. And I would say if this triggers you, I really invite you to look at the entirety of your chart. If you feel like it's just flat out wrong, then I ask you, go look at your chart. Maybe you have a lot of Capricorn in your chart. I know plenty of Sagittariuses that I'm madly, passionately in love with. I have a lot of healthy Sagittariuses in my life. And if you are a healthy Sagittarius, you're not going to be able to relate to this at all. So forgive me for my foot and mouth syndrome. Forgive me for not having an editor. You are going to see me bloopers and all because I do not have an editor for this series. So we are just kind of just winging it. And I want to tell you that I interviewed my husband to ask him, what do you think is so challenging about a Sagittarius? And he's like, well, personally, I love Sagittarius, but I can tell you what other people think. So he gave me a lot of content and a lot of great feedback. And Sagittariuses can be exasperating. Even the healthy ones can be exasperating. So if you are clueless to that and you are a Sag, or you are a big fat Sag rising, or you're a big fat Sag moon, or you have your Mercury in Sagittarius or a stellium in Sag, or your personal planets, Mars and Venus in Sagittarius, or if you have any sign jam packed in the ninth house or just your sun in the ninth house, you should probably listen to this video. And please know that I'm not really a mean-spirited, cruel person. I just understand the shadow side of all 12 zodiac signs. And yeah, I think that it brings awareness and compassion. And it also truthfully gives you an opportunity to become a better person inside your relationships, and I think inside your life. So here we go. The first, number one, difficult thing. And by the way, these are not in order of most painful to least painful. I just think it is sort of flat out difficult, no matter like what the order is. So, and I might be a little bit like there's a lot of crossover with these things. So I might repeat myself in some ways, but giving you sort of like new concept of these different characteristics inside of Sagittarius. By the way, this is not the virtue video. This is not everything that's good about Sagittarius. No, this is quite the contrary. So if you can't handle the heat, I'm warning you, get out of the kitchen right now. Now, you know, I don't usually bump into too much conflict on my Sagittarius videos like some other signs. I won't mention the signs. Other signs really get their feathers ruffled, but I think Sagittarius appreciates sort of the constructive criticism. The first number one difficult thing about being involved, falling in love with your Sagittarius is they are a restless wanderer. Yeah, they have a wandering spirit and they have a wandering eye and they have a wandering heart. But that's because they're always seeking out new adventures and new experiences. And they're constantly craving a new kind of freedom and a new kind of discovery that can make them wary of commitment, making a relationship commitment, I should say, a commitment in their relationships can feel sometimes more of a constraint than a comfort. So when a Sagittarius is dating you, they're going, do I feel really comfortable with this person or do I feel constrained and restricted? And you are going to end up marrying the person probably who you feel a freedom with. Yeah. Hello, Aquariuses. Hello, Geminis. Hello, Libras, right? Even Leos, you're people who you feel this bigness with, this freedom. Somebody who has their own autonomy and individual ego developed. where they're not counting on you to define them. That is what Sagittarius needs. But we're not really into the remedies in this video. I just have a lot to tell you, and I got to talk fast because this is a big fat video. So because Sagittarius is this restless wanderer, they're always wanting something new. So are you a person that can create new energy inside your daily rituals and your daily life? If so, that's perfect. But they have an insatiable craving for freedom and an insatiable appetite for discovery, means that they approach life as an ever unfolding journey, moving from one passion to the next, to the next, to the next, with an over the top enthusiastic curiosity. And that is how my husband described me. More about that later. But for a Sagittarius, staying in one place, whether it's physical or emotional or even intellectual, can feel really, really stifling, like suffocating, right? It's like the world is passing me by outside my window and I'm not a part of it. I got to get out there. I got to, right? So there is a longing for constant motion and a longing for constant growth that can make them wary of routines. This is a sign that is definitely allergic to chores. They are allergic to mopping the floor. They are allergic to dusting. Yeah, I think they could probably handle vacuuming, but they're not going to want to dust all the little knickknacks. No, 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 no. That's what you have children for. Ha ha ha. Just joking. My child does not dust, but she should. Mm-hmm. So I just want to tell you that they long for a constant motion and they long for just an ongoing growth. They are always wanting to improve. They're always wanting more, and more. That's Sagittarius. That's Aries too. But they're in their relationships, their partners might find that it's exhausting keeping up with their Sagittarius, who just has this boundless energy. And this is the part that's hard, ever shifting interests. They change their mind, they change their interests Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so they have a hard time sticking to anything unless they don't feel constrained by that very thing. So their zest for life is so attractive and it's invigorating, right? But it sometimes makes a relationship feel less of a stable anchor and more like just a whirlwind. Woo, woo, woo. Just tornado, tsunami, whirlwind, just constant drive and activity, where comfort and certainty are replaced by spontaneity and this hunger for the unknown. So for those who love Sagittarius, patience and flexibility become essential ingredients to have a successful relationship. And the journey is just not predictable with a Sagittarius. As plans come in and out on a whim. Weekends transform into quiet evenings or into a spontaneous road trip. You know, you thought you were going to do something big and your Sagittarius is tired for once, right? So I'm just telling you that conversations can veer off from gentle banter to existential musings to even sort of a firefight, right? In the blink of an eye. And so this sign has a deep rooted need for exploration, and it doesn't just extend into the physical travel, right? The exploration isn't just travel. It is a constant quest for, are you ready? Self-discovery. Yes. And also truth about themselves, truth about life, truth about the world, truth about climate change, truth about whatever, like highfalutin truths. They are chasing that. They are chasing truth like the Holy Grail. And so partners sometimes feel as if they're always like running to try to catch up, or they are being swept along in a current of ever evolving ideas and pursuits that the Sagittarius refuses to stay static. Yes. So number 2, I would say, is their blunt honesty. And this one I can say has gotten me into a lot of trouble over the years. Hopefully I've grown, right? Like most Sagittariuses have. But they speak the truth with a very little filter, which it can be refreshing, especially if you're an Aries or a Leo or a Gemini. You really appreciate that, and even Aquarius. But misunderstandings or hurt feelings when their words land more sharply than even they realized or they intended. And this leads them not being able to read the room and saying the most, appropriate thing. No, sometimes they say the inappropriate thing because they're just so deep in the truth that they're not into necessarily reading the room. They kind of don't care. If their truth is harsh, they kind of feel like you should deal with it because it is the truth, so it does deserve more of the attention. But they don't always see that, this isn't really the place to necessarily say that thing. And they also don't really, they're in a hurry a lot of the times. And so they don't have necessarily the time to cater to your emotional sensitivities. I remember this one story where I told my mom, you should get this shake. This is a diet shake. And if you have these 3 times a day, oh my gosh, you can lose so much weight. And she goes, well, do you think I could lose 10 pounds on this? And I said, Mom, oh my God, you could lose 40 pounds on this. You could lose 60 pounds on this. And I didn't realize that that was offensive at the time. She was like, 60 pounds? Who do you think you're talking to? Right. So it's like this Sagittarius doesn't even, that's the foot and mouth syndrome. That's where Sagittarius doesn't even know that they have even offended the person. They were just in the truth of what this thing could do. So, and that leads me to a little bit more. And that, like more, let me clarify and expand because this is the third thing, but it's very similar. So Sagittarius are blunt, they're fast, they're quick communicators. They also kind of dominate and over interrupt. I remember in my first marriage, I was very young and I had met my husband when I was like 20, I don't know, 24 years old maybe. And I was living in New York City and I learned how to talk fast, think fast, be quick on my feet. Like, people just don't have a lot of time in New York and they don't sit around and like slow, talk slowly and dream. Like, no, you get to the freaking bottom line, lady, right? And so I had developed kind of a new communication style living in Manhattan, living in New York, like a New Yorker, talk like a New Yorker, get to the point, don't, hey, Joey, don't beat around the bush, Joey, just tell me like it is. What do you want from me? What are you looking for? What are you trying to say? Why are you mealy mouth? Why are you mincing your words? Right. So I learned how to talk quick and help people get to the point very, very fast. Well, my first husband, who I was married to, he said, Meredith, you've just become such a impatient listener. You steamroll, you talk over people, you don't listen, you don't allow another person to really fully express themselves. I'm like, oh my God, that story was so boring. I wanted to help the person get to the bottom line and like reach the punchline while we still were awake. And he was like, yeah, it's rude. You steamroll. And so I really took that to heart. And I was like, wow, I really have to like just have my inside thoughts and not interrupt. And I'll have a dialogue with myself in my own head while you tell your long story with every little detail that does not matter. Like I got my car keys, I put my car key into the engine, I turned my car on, and then I put my seatbelt on, and then I drove down the street. And this is the story about how they met, their soulmate. I'm like, oh my God, please, please, please. Can you just take me to the part where you guys met? Do I have to hear about strapping on your seatbelt? Oh my God. Right. Like Sag is into the big picture. Sag is into the bottom line. Sag is into maybe like the colorful story, like, oh, he swept me off my feet. And, after I arrived at the restaurant, he swept me off my feet. That's the part that Sag wants to hear. So Sag can dominate and like, let's speed this up. Let me help you find the punchline, find the theme or the moral of the story really fast. Like I'll ask the question that shoot gets us to the outcome. Yes. So let's talk about the truth teller. This is number 3, and truth telling to a fault. Yes, they call you out, they can embarrass you, and they sometimes are uncouth, not diplomatic. They don't have a filter, and they can be quite insensitive. Now, as Sagittarius grows and as Sagittarius gets more healthy in life, caveat here, everybody can grow out of these pitfalls. Everybody can become a better person. You can choose to do the virtues of your sign. And my husband was very sweet. He did say, Meredith, first of all, you're the healthiest person I've ever met. And second of all, I think you're a really healthy Sagittarius, because those other Sagittariuses, they can be unbearable. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But it's, they think that the truth that they say out loud is the truth that everybody already knows. They think like this truth that they see. No, 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 Bo. They think that the truth that they see is the truth that everybody's seen, but nobody has the guts to say. So they're just going to say it. And they're thinking, like I said, that this particular truth. It's right in front of your face, just as it's in front of my face. And my idea is so truthful. What is wrong with saying this truth out loud? See, they push truthful, like their truth, to the front of everything. So if it's my truth, then it's got to be your truth too, right? Because it's just common sense. Let's just make sense, right? No. They don't really realize that not everyone thinks that your truth is the truth, and it certainly isn't their truth, right? So it's hard to believe that. It's hard for Sagittarius to believe sometimes that there's another perspective or another way, like Gemini, and they're not a fixed sign. So once they discover that there is another way or there is another perspective, they can lean into it, but they don't start there necessarily. So let's hope your Sagittarius person has some Aquarius or Gemini or Libra mixed into it, or by now they are a progressed Aquarius. But they can't see the boundaries inside these conversations sometimes, and they can also become arrogantly self-righteous. That we'll come back to. But Sagittarius has this honesty about them that is just unvarnished and also simultaneously refreshing. They are funny and fun, and people find it just so freaking refreshing that, you know, they said the thing that everybody was thinking out loud. And Sagittarius values truth and transparency, sometimes to the point of just sheer bluntness. And their candor can catch even the most open-minded person off guard. So, you know, when Sagittarius is just telling it like it is, that might be tactfulness to another person, unintentionally wounding those who really need a softer touch. And sometimes this forthrightness, if you will, can be a source of strength, inviting authentic connections for those who are willing to meet them on honest terms. I'll tell you, Sag can usually hear the truth too. Like if you have a difficult truth to tell a Sag, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. I get it. I get that you didn't appreciate that I did X, Y, and Z. You didn't appreciate that I was late. You don't appreciate that I'm busy. I get it. I get it. I hear that. But I'll just tell you that Sagittarius is a little bit oblivious this way. They actually don't know that their truth is painful. Okay, this is a little bonus one, like what's difficult about being a Sagittarius. Sagittariuses do not like vulnerability at all. If you see a Sagittarius cry, this is very, very rare. Maybe they have some Scorpio or Cancer or Pisces in their chart, but like if you see me cry, this is a very rare moment. It is not easy for a Sagittarius to just completely break down and cry, especially in public or openly with someone else. And also, it is kind of difficult for Sagittarius to get like fully, full out naked to the soul with another person. I'm not saying naked in the body, I'm saying like naked in the soul, right? Like just completely reveal warts and all. And so they oftentimes have a grandness about them. And that's how they deflect. That's how they deflect like that intimate vulnerability that could like penetrate and pierce that soft side inside of them. And that's why, so their exuberant exterior, they're like clown, like funny guy, slapstick sense of humor, larger than life, sunshine, is how they keep the quiet, vulnerable parts at bay. And they prefer to keep things really light and breezy and fun and funny rather than delve emotionally into the depths. Now, if that's not you, you probably have Scorpio prominently in your chart and you can go down into the depths. But if you don't meet a Sagittarius that can go down into the depths, like they'll want to know all about you and your pain and your suffering, but they'll reveal nothing. So if they have that, they might not have enough, they might not have a lot, I should say, of Scorpio in their chart. Um, you're going to have to gently trick them or coax them into sharing their fears, their insecurities. What are you afraid of? Nothing. No, that's not true. What are you afraid of? And reassuring them that emotional closeness does not mean I will put you into a cage. Like, just because I know what you're vulnerable about or what you're afraid of, it doesn't mean that I'm going to lock you into that cage and take away the key, right? It's like we can discover your fears and we can discover your emotional frailty or your emotional weaknesses together, while we're madly in love. So, number 4, because that was just a little bonus. I would say it's very difficult to be with Sagittariuses because they are fiercely independent, and Sagittariuses value autonomy above all else. Their need for personal space can take priority over their need for partnership. And they can even leave their loved ones feeling like a distant second place for sure. And they hide behind a busy schedule. They overcommit to everyone, to life. Their life is too busy. They are doing everything for everybody all the time. They're on committees, they're on adventures, they're doing this, they're fixing their boat, they're fixing their motorcycle, they're buying a new house, they're renovating, they're 20,000 irons in the fire at all time. They live in a state of manic. Yeah, not very many Sagittariuses are just lounging around unless they've booked the time to do that. This is not the Taurus video, people. This is the Sagittarius video. It is manically busy in the Sagittarius's world. And this is also another way of saying that they are devoted to their time, their ideas, their schedule, their energy, and they do what they want to do with their day. Yes, they do. They don't do what they don't want to do. They will get out of it. They will have a cold, they will have a sickness, or they no, they don't spend their time doing that which they don't want to do. Okay, number 5, you know, we talked about this. They're allergic to chores. It's really true. Routine is the enemy of Sagittarius. The repetitive and the mundane does not hold the interest of Sagittarius for very long. And they're always searching for novelty and excitement, both in love and in life. And they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be tied up. They don't want to be held down. They don't want to be bound, right? Or clipped in any way, shape, or form. And when they are mad, they need to go on a walk, a run, or a drive. The faster, the better, because that's how they get anger out of their system. I'll also tell you something, and I know I'm talking about routine right now, but when it comes to settling down, Sagittarius really struggles. They're always fixed on the next horizon. The thought of planting long-term roots can just be daunting and lead them into reluctance or avoidance around long-term commitments. So try to don't you're if you're dating your Sagittarius, you're going to have to see. I wouldn't talk about long-term commitments directly. I really wouldn't. I would just be that free-spirited thing that can come and go as they come and go, and eventually they'll choose you because you don't try to box them in or hold them down. Or tie them up, right? They don't like that. So I would also say another thing, this is number 6, is their impulsivity. And it's kind of what I just said, but I'm going to expand on it. It's like the grass is greener, and getting always on to the next thing is another hallmark of this sign. And they can make decisions, impulsive, rando decisions in the heat of the moment. I remember I was staying with my boyfriend at the time, and I think we were in Vegas, and we had to go do one of those timeshare, looky-loos and sit through the whole thing. And I was like, let's buy it. I really wanted to. I was like calling the bank, hey, how much money do I need to buy that? Do I have enough money to buy this timeshare? And my boyfriend was like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely not. We are not buying this. This is a scheme. This is a scam, whatever, Scorpio. And I was like, oh, but this would be so great. And we could go to Hawaii, and we could go to the Bahamas, and we could thank God for him in that particular situation. Like, no, we didn't end up doing that. But the heat of the moment can just feel so So right and so exciting. And then they wake up the next day and they go, ay, 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 ay. What did I spend my money on? What did I spend my time on? What was I wasting my life on? What was I doing? I was so swept away in the magic of the moment, right? So it leads to being unpredictable and, sudden changes of heart. And it can leave partners feeling like, whoa, oh my God, whiplash, always wanting to explore that next big thing also for self-improvement, life improvement. And they're always like obsessively striving to learn the next new fad, the next new amazing thing that is going to improve life or improve health or improve wellness or improve the truth of the situation. I know my husband was so funny imitating me. He was like, you walk in the door and you're like, honey, we're going to do intermittent fasting for the next 30 days. And we are not going to eat any carbs. We're not going to have any sugar and we're not going to drink any wine. And alcohol is killing our brain cells and we have to detox. Honey, you're on board with me, right? We have to move to honey, we have to move to the south of France. We can't live here in the United States anymore. Absolutely not. Let's pack up our bags. Let's live out of backpacks. Let's get rid of this. Like, come. And he's like, we're, I'm having a grandchild in a week. uh, Remember you have that kid in college? Remember, remember your parents are down the street. You're taking care of your dad, right? You take him to lunch on Fridays. Remember that? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I just got back from France and I fell in love with it and I want to live there. Like it never ends, right? It's one new big idea day after day after day after day. And it's so, my husband called it over the top curiosity. And, I said, how do you do that? He goes, oh God, I'm an Aquarian. I can totally deal, but I think other people would really struggle. And he said, he was so articulate. Like he's not really actively learning astrology with me, but he hears all my videos and he hears me talking incessantly. And I think he's out there actually learning because he repeats back the wisest things. He said, if you're going to be with the Sagittarius, he literally said this to me last night. And I interviewed him. I literally interviewed him. I already had what I wanted to say written, but he expanded my thoughts and it was just so stinking cute. He said, partners have to ride the wave, partners have to ride the waves of giant curiosity and exploration. And they have to, you know, the partner has to bring a sense of humor and roll with this ever changing, always changing energy. Um, and he said, but it doesn't wear me out. I find your enthusiasm to be infectious and it's fun to explore. But, um, and if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. That's, yeah, you can't move an Aquarius if they don't want to do it. But Mare, you can go do it, right? But it's not as much fun without him. Anyways, yeah, fasting isn't fun without your husband fasting too, right? But he said I could see how for most of the zodiac signs, this would really wear thin and this would like exasperate entire people out. And he said, I could see how other people would feel like it is obnoxious wanting to get everybody else on board with your big idea. And when people don't come along for the big adventure, he reminded me that I can get really upset. I can even blow a gasket, like, oh, why not? But and then I start proving why it's the best idea for me. And if it's the best idea for me, it's a great idea for you, right? And Sagittarius can get bombastic and they can insist and it can turn into self-righteousness. Like, I know what's best for you. Not everyone is on board with that. Like, honey, we're buying a boat. Let's buy a boat. Let's pack the house. Let's sail to Fiji. Let's do it. It can make your partner feel like it can give an impression to your partner that you're unhappy, that your life with them is not good enough, that your current situation is boring. When the grass is constantly greener on the other side, it can make your partner feel like you don't like this. And it's not true at all. It's just like, yes, I love this, but there's so much to do. And so I laughed so hard because my husband reminded me last night. He was like, Mary, do you remember when you like walked in the door and you were like, honey, we're going vegan? And he's like, okay, let's try it. And he goes, and then I gained 10 pounds. And I was like, hell to the no. I am not doing this vegan anymore. I gained 10 pounds, Mare. This is not the right one for me. Nope. And so we changed out. I was a vegan for 5 years and I got him and then I left it and then I came back to it and it really, really helped my health. I did gain weight too, though. Like we both gained weight. But the boundless optimism, while it's uplifting, can sometimes blind the Sagittarius to the practical realities, like, sailing to Fiji might not. Like, let's talk about the pragmatics. And Sag doesn't want to do that. They're like, why are you being a Debbie Downer? Why are you, crushing my mellow, whatever. And so this over optimism can frustrate a more cautious or grounded partner who prefers to find security, right? Okay, the preacher teacher, right? Always, always teaching lessons, wanting to be right, wanting to show the right way, talking from a bully pulpit, inspiring teachings all day long, right? Like everything's a lesson, everything needs to be taught. Like, let me tell you about my Qigong class and what we learned, and let me teach you how to relax the back. Like, just it gets exhausting for people who are involved with you because A, they're not interested in you teaching them everything. B, they want to politely remind you you don't know it all. Right. So laugh with me, laugh with me. And by the way, would you please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel? It's totally free. It's totally free. And it helps me so much. I need to keep growing this channel. And I don't know why, but about 50% of the people that watch the video don't like the video. They don't share the video. They don't comment and they don't subscribe. And so I can see all the people that watch the video and then I can see how many people liked it and how many people subscribed from it and anything. Anyways, it would just mean so much so more people can learn from me, learn from my style of teaching, and can really learn deep astrology. Now, I have to tell you, this week, I don't teach sun sign astrology. So if you've gotten this far, wherever you have Sagittarius in your chart, you are probably like this in that particular house, in the themes of that house. So if this is in your seventh house, this might be how you approach relationships. If this is in your sixth house, this might be how you approach your daily life, And so I just want to invite you that everybody has a little bit of Sagittarius in their chart, and you should be listening to this whole entire series so you can look at your whole chart and see, oh, I act like a Taurus around my money. Oh, I act like a Scorpio at my work. Oh, I act like a Pisces in my legacy building career, right? And so you want to know your houses. And I want people to learn this deeper astrology. So while I am talking about sun sign or just sign, the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, go find out where you have Sagittarius in your chart. And you are probably like this in that particular house domain. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Anyways, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for all my subscribers and everybody who likes my video. I don't know why, but I'm getting a little bit suppressed. So people are not finding me anymore. I'm not popping up on their For You page. So you need to ring the bell too, if you wouldn't mind. Anyways, this preacher teacher thing is exhausting. I think the loved ones feel like exhausted because there's a little bit of a bragginess to I'm the teacher, and unhealthy Sagittariuses can turn into sort of an obnoxious guru, if you will, not living in humility, but thinking that they have all the answers. And it's just not the truth. They can have this over the top energy around believing what is right, believing what is truthful. They're indoctrinated into a religion or a spirituality that they become righteous about, and they can believe that their belief system or their spiritual system or their religious ideas are the right way, the only way, their way, your way, and you should embrace them. If you want to be good or as good as them, that kind of deity mentality. There's only two royal signs in the entire zodiac, and Sagittarius is one of them, and Leo is the other. So, like, the crown on their head. Now, if you have a healthy Sagittarius, they have learned humility. Yes. But they were not born with it. They had to learn it, probably, unless they have a lot of Virgo or Scorpio or Cancer in their chart, or even Pisces, and then they will be much more humbled from birth. I'm going to tell you something very real. The unhealthy Sagittarius, right? Like, the pain of being involved with them they can be just like some other signs, Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, Leo. They can be the quintessential bullshitter. Yeah. They can talk like they are the expert on a subject that they know nothing about, getting people to believe them. They can be the scam artist. Think about people who have big Sagittariuses in their chart. I can think of one person right now that we all know has a big Sagittarius moon. Scam artist, bullshitter. Yeah. Ponzi schemer, flat out liar. And they are short tempered when you don't believe them. And they will light a forest fire, just like, you don't believe me, I'll show you. And they can literally turn your life, their life, our world into a forest fire. And I'll tell you, when the situation doesn't measure up, like, you're not accepting whatever they're trying to indoctrinate you into, they don't like that. No, they don't like that. Now, as far as me with astrology, I don't want to indoctrinate anybody into it. I only work with believers, and I am not in the business of conversion. Yeah. I don't like to convert people. There's plenty of people who believe. So if you don't want to believe in astrology, that's okay. You don't have to. Yeah. We don't have to have the same religion. I can be Buddhist. You can be Jewish, and we can be married, right? We can spend our lives together happily. We can be different. But if you have an open mind like that, go see what's in your third house. That's very open-minded. Go see what's in your 11th house. That's very open-minded. See what's in Gemini, see what's in Aquarius. Yeah. But Sagittariuses can have very, very, very big expectations of the people, for the people that they love and life itself. And they want payouts. They want payouts for their energy, their ideas, and their effort. Yes. Sagittarius loves to debate, and they love to ponder big ideas. And they have an intellectual nature about them, very intuitive intellects. So they're not like Aquarius or Gemini this way. They don't always remember all the data, but they do remember the big concepts. And it means that even casual conversations can turn into philosophical debates and sparring matches, and sometimes overwhelm other people that prefer lighter touches, right? Not like so deep into the intensity. There's an intensity with this fire sign. All fire signs are intense. They have a deep thumbprint. Okay, number 8, what's hard about them? Well, it's probably the same thing you love about them. How warm and open and friendly they are. Like, they are so friendly, and they shy away from deeper emotional confrontations, kind of. They tend to keep things upbeat and funny and humorous, and that's a guard for them. When and really healthy Sagittariuses can, like, just be goofballs that are totally self-deprecating. They are, when you're a healthy Sagittarius, your flaws. And I definitely know my flaws, know my weaknesses. Yes, yes, yes. Um, and I will tell you that they some Sagittariuses that are unhealthy, they avoid the emotional depth necessary for those true intimate connections. We talked a little bit about that. But they have a big flirtatiousness. They have a joie de vivre, and they love to flirt with love and life, and small babies and grandparents, and anybody and everybody, the attractive person and the unattractive person. And with this flirtatiousness, they can sometimes have bad boundaries, and they can't even understand, because they don't have malicious intent. They just truly love the tie that you're wearing. They just truly think you have the most beautiful eyes in the whole wide world, and they want you to know it, not realizing, oh, me complimenting you on your eyes or your figure or what you're wearing, oh, it's a little bit inappropriate. or like, you have the best body. Inappropriate, inappropriate. We don't talk like that anymore. Did we ever? No. But I'm just saying that they can't understand why their complementary nature should make you jealous. They they literally can't wrap two brain cells around that. So they really struggle with jealous partners. They do not understand jealousy, and they have a big spirited love for all people. I also want to tell you, I think Sagittariuses get over their anger very, very quickly. This is a virtue. This is not the virtue video, but I'm just telling you, they don't live in grudges. You know why? Those grudges take so much energy. It requires me to remember what I was mad at. Sagittariuses live in the optimism of life. They can't really recall. But if you have some Scorpio in your chart and you're a Sag, yeah, you'll recall, you'll remember, you won't forget, you'll make that person pay the price probably over and over and over. But just Sagittarius energy really has a giant forgiveness factor. And because they have that big spirited love for everyone, and they can make their partners super, super jealous unknowingly, just because they're in the bathroom talking to a stranger too long. What were you doing? Where were you at? Why? Why was that person fascinating? Right. Anyways, I want to tell you this example. So this is a little bit of a personal example. So we were in the jacuzzi. My husband and I were in the jacuzzi over at my friend's house, just a couple doors down. We were in the jacuzzi and I was so relaxed. It was the day after snow skiing. You guys know I love to snow ski, right? And it, like snow skiing, it just makes you brittle inside. So we were in the jacuzzi and we were drinking wine, and I just was looking up at these stars, and it was the winter night and the stars were clear. The sky was clear and you could see the stars. And I had been just recently married, like a year. I was married by a year. And by the way, when I was on my honeymoon with my husband, I had told him that this was like the best night of my life. Our honeymoon was so fun. And I was like, this is the best night of our life. Well, I was in this jacuzzi. It's just a mundane night. It's nothing special. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, this is the best day of my life. And my husband was at first taken aback. Now, 6 years later, how he tells that story, he said, at first, I was so taken aback and I was a little offended, because how can this jacuzzi night of nothingness be the best night of your life when you had already just told me that our honeymoon was the best night of your life? Like, which night is the best night? Because I'm really confused. Like, if this little nothing of a night, jacuzzi night, can be the best night of your life, then what was our honeymoon? And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Oh my God, that was the best night of my life. But this is like the best night of my life tonight. And so my husband just told me last night, he said, I really had to let that sink in. And now what I know about you, 7 years into our relationship, 6 married plus 1 dating, you live literally as if every single moment of every single day is the best moment, the best day of your life. And he said that concept is so beautiful and it is so fun and it is infectious. And he said, and I have adopted that with you because of you. Like, you showed me, like, this can be the best night of our life, and this can be the best night of our life. And every night, and he said, that's what I love about you. Every night is the best night of our life, Mare. I love that story. But he said, I can imagine how most people, a lot of people, and me in our early part of our relationship could really get their feelings hurt, could really feel like you might be insincere. And I will tell you, I have bumped into that so many times where I have been accused, my younger self mostly, of being insincerely flattering, insincerely happy, insincerely on top of the world, insincerely loving this moment as the best night of our lives. And it's not true. It's always, always very, very, very sincere. But other signs, other people, they want to be the best thing. And so how can 2 different people be the best thing, or 2 different days be the best days? I mean, how can you have 2 bests? Best means 1. Best doesn't mean every, and best doesn't mean more than 2. But for Sagittarius, yes, it does. The math does not work like that for Sagittarius. So Insecure partners will not like this about Sagittarius. And possessive signs, forgive me if you are one, will not understand this. You can be the best thing last night, and there can be a different best thing in the morning, and that does not discount your best thing. And I now know, I just know I'm going to get comments on this part of the video because there are going to be people like, this does not make sense. This does not compute. This does not add up. This math is not working. So, I just want to tell you that if you're unhealthy, it could be fickle and you could detach from that previous best thing. But a healthy Sag will say, yes, that thing was the best thing. And so is this thing and this thing. And tomorrow I expect to be better than today. That's how Sagittarius lives, my friends. They live for tomorrow being better than today, no matter what today was. So I want to talk to you about how this can lead to, if you're unhealthy, this can lead to uncommittal experiences. So this could lead to, although not all Sagittariuses are like this, but this could lead to sort of having a Gene Simmons sex with everyone. So not all Sagittariuses are going to have sex with 8,000 people in their lifetime, or 10,000 people. How many people did he have sex with? I think 10,000 people. Ugh. I think while married or during a portion of his marriage even. But a lot of unhealthy Sagittariuses, let me just tell you why this is, don't have a sense of monogamy or sexual loyalty. And that's because they are on a chase for a euphoric feeling, only to realize, this is really, really, really important, okay? Only to realize that that euphoric feeling is actually something that comes from within themselves, and they won't find it. They won't actually find it in other people, places, or things. So when I was young, here's an example. When I was young, I traveled to Southeast Asia because that's where my dad lived. He worked with the United Nations. He lived in Cambodia and Thailand. And I was so excited the first time I was going. I was very young. I was in college, probably 19 years old. And I knew that I was going on this trip to find myself, to find my calling, to find my higher self, my better self, the self in me that I had not discovered. And in truth, I actually really did, but not immediately. So when I arrived there, I put my feet on the tarmac and I thought, wow, I'm finding me. But then in real time, I had to wake up every single morning with same old me. And I thought I was going to poof, into some awakened self. And, that didn't happen. But what did happen is these new seedlings were planted inside of me. They were just planted inside of me. And I did grow from that experience. But I want you to know the truth, Sagittarius is. I honestly and truthfully and deeply mean this. I could have also found those pieces of myself right at home in my living room in Phoenix, Arizona, in the middle of the dry desert, boring, dry desert. It was inside of me all the time. And Sagittarius will eventually come to learn that wherever you go, there you are, right? Now that experience and that sense of adventure and that openness to new culture and learning different foods and music and everything. Yes, it was a gargantuan part of my love for diversity and love for differences in people. And it really did matter. And I did find pieces of myself, but Sagittarius does not have to go to more, or the grass is always greener to find that in them. And that's a big lesson. It's a startling lesson that every Sagittarius is actually here to learn. You're questing for the truth out there, right? Only to find out that the truth is right here with me inside this body in Seattle, Washington. I could be giving this video from Zimbabwe, right? And the truth is inside. It's not outside. That's really hard for Sag to wrestle with. Okay, number 9. Sagittarius is over the top. That is annoying and that is exhausting for quieter signs, for more subtle signs. They have this over the top zest for life that can exhaust your energy and deplete your wallet. Yes, they can be bad with time management. They can be bad with money. They can be bad with vulnerability. They can be bad with building security. Don't think I don't know the difficult, hard, ugly fugly, right, aspects of Sagittarius. I do. I really do. They're big pie in the sky and let's take another risk. Woo, can leave others feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, depleted, just like, oh, they're so domineering. Their energy is so eclipsing. There's other people in the room that have ideas too. Let's do someone else's journey. It's not all about you coordinating and exercising what this night is going to look like. Other people, other quiet signs, I want to vote. And so you have to kind of be loud and raise your energy up to match that energy of Sag. And that's exhausting. You might feel like, yeah, I'm not in the mood for her tonight. Nah, I'm not in the mood for him tonight. He's too much. Oh God, he's going to exhaust me. He's going to recharge me, but he's not going to relax me. And you might want to choose somebody who relaxes you more. And if they don't have other signs in their chart, like Scorpio, right, or Capricorn, they might be to maximum volume, Sagittariuses don't know when to quit. They don't know when to have that last drink. Oh, I should have had that last drink 5 drinks ago. Yeah. They don't know when to quit the blackjack table. Oh, I should have quit the blackjack table $2,000 ago. And if you don't want to join them, that's okay. You don't worry about it. They'll find the person next to them and they'll have a blast. Like, woo. And so their ever shifting interests or spontaneous, spirit can make them seem unreliable or kind of like superficial or like, if not you, next, blase fair, like, I can replace you. It's not true. Sagittarius doesn't really actually think that. What's happening is they're living so in the present. They're living so in the moment. They're making this moment the best time of their life. And they're going to do that any way they can. And so it often leaves their loved ones unsure of what to expect next. Okay. The last thing I would say, and I've kind of touched on it, is that unhealthy Sagittariuses they are filled with bravado and braggadociousness and cocky arrogance. And so you're either going to probably love your Sagittarius or despise your Sagittarius or both. You can have both feelings at the same time. You might not like want to be around, all the opinions and the cocky arrogance that the unhealthy Sag is going to unleash. However, I'll just tell you, I have this Sagittarius girlfriend and she's an astrologer too and learning astrology. She's not a professional astrologer. Anyways, we would go to this conference together and oh my God, I sounded like a little quiet church mouse compared to her energy. She was so loud. This is a convention of 1,000 people. She could literally be on the other side of the convention. I'm not joking. The other side of the convention, 500 people away, and I can hear her entire conversation. Not joking. Like she had 2 volumes, loud, well, 3, loud, louder, and loudest, like so big, so giant. Even her voice kind of had bad boundaries, like shh, inside voice. Yeah, no. However, really healthy Sagittarius is they know they don't know everything. And you will know when you are in the presence of a healthy Sagittarius because you are with somebody who doesn't believe that they are the smartest or the best. They have a humility because the more that they learn, they realize the less that they really know. And if your Sagittarius is on a perpetual quest to learn more, like, let's learn this together, like, I don't know those answers. Like, I really don't know. I would love to go research that, or I would love to learn more about that. Or they are humbled to learning from you as well. That's a healthy Sagittarius. Healthy Sagittariuses are so infectiously fun. They are so riveting and exciting. They see the best in you all the time. They also see the truth, but if the truth is negative, they don't care. They just tell you. Those jeans aren't very flattering on you. Who cares? They still see the best in you. You can do better than that, right? You can get a better job. You can be better. Like they work towards, they they're they lean towards, I should say, um um the more inspirational truths, the truths that are good truths. So, anyways, I hope you are loving this series, and I want to know your comments. I want to know, where do you have Sagittarius? Are you a progressed Sag? Do you know about your progressions? So if you want to know, like, what is my chart? What is it about? You can get your starter package with me. Just go to Shop Soul Navigation and you can see all of my reports. I also really, really recommend. Not very many people get this, but this one should be mandatory. You should get my unique chart rulers report. It's inexpensive. You can see the rulers of all your different houses. And so you can start to understand, like, let's say you have no planets in Sagittarius. Well, in your unique chart rulers report, you can go and read about the house in which Sagittarius is in and where Jupiter is in your chart. And that's more Sagittarius energy. You can also learn about your ninth house. So if you have a lot of ninth house planets, this video is for you. And if you're in love with the Sagittarius, I want to hear about your Sagittarius partner, lover, husband, wife, right? And you can also listen to this video because it will make sense. Like, why is your child like this? Like, if you are a Scorpio and you're raising a Sagittarius child, you've got to get into their shoes, because Sagittarius is going to leave, especially if your life is too small. So you kind of sometimes, as a parent, if you have a Sagittarius child, you have to make sure you grow bigger so your Sagittarius child does not find you boring, right? Grow bigger. I'm lucky I had big giant parents, and I'm really lucky that way because they helped encourage me in my own growth. Anyways, I love you guys. I love this community. And I also want to say thank you for joining and being a super supporter. If you join, it puts 10 cents into my pocket. It allows me to edit these videos. You can see there's no graphics, there's no edits, there's no nothing in this video, bloopers and all, you get me. But I would love to be able to hire my editor again. So if you would join this channel, it would help me so much. It would help me with camera, lights, action, and all the behind the scenes that it takes to make these videos come alive for you. I think I have close to 2,000 videos free for you. You could get your whole PhD in astrology right here on my channel, learning advanced, deep, real, authentic astrology. Also, if you want to learn astrology with me, I'm opening up my Athena Academy of Astrology, Soul Navigation's Athena Academy of Astrology. I'm opening it up. It's coming. I'm going to teach a foundations course, and then I'm going to teach advanced courses through Zoom. We're going to look at charts. We're going to read them together. I'm going to show you how to synthesize, and I'm going to help you become a professional astrologer. So stick with me. I'm also going to feed opportunities, professional astrological opportunities, to each one of my students that goes through my school. So I hope you will consider studying with me. I'm not ready yet. I am developing it, but first I've got to get through my workshop in Nice. And then I'll be developing my workshop in Seattle, my in-person workshops. They are so fun. They are so exciting. If you want to come learn with me in person, it is going to be soul quenching, life changing, just transformational. Like, you can't even believe. You can go look at some of the videos on my shorts around how fun my workshops are. We learn intense astrology during the day, then we play at night. That's going to be the third weekend in May. I believe it's around the 15th of May. 2026. Mark it on your calendar, buy your flight so you can get a discounted flight. It is definitely, I already have the room reserved and we are going to do it. Don't know what my curriculum is going to be yet, but anyways, I just wanted to put that on my Sagittarius video because I know you guys are, I don't know, intellectual learners, forever lifelong learners. And you make really good astrologers. So think about it. Just think about it. Think about coming and learning with me. And I just want to say, from my house here in Seattle, Washington, to whatever beautiful place you live in the world, I wish you the very, very best. And my whole heart, my whole entire gargantuan heart goes out to you. And I'm sending you a giant hug. Take good care of yourself, your family, your animals, and this world. Bye for now.